has a displacement effect, some sort of placement effect. Sorry.
You got there eventually.
Woof! Dude, I don't like Glue. I personally don't like Glue. He is a really tough matchup for a lot of tank-style EXP laners, and he kind of just sustains forever. He's kind of like Uranus, but at least a lot harder to deal with, and takes a bit of skill to use.
And I think Team Vamos don't really necessarily have the most damage to take him out early to mid, right? So it will take some time to take care of Cram, which is what he wants. That's how he fulfills his role.
Yeah, I really like that they left Glue until the very last pick, right? Just so they could avoid the counter pick of Aramis or Vexana coming in from Clockun once he had locked in the Farsa. And that immediately gives Cram one goal. Sandbag the Hilda. Don't let Smooth leave lane and try to invade. And that instantly gives SRG so much early game control. But early game is the realm of Team Vamos. And they're going to be eager for some revenge after what happened in game number 1. So let's see if this champion derby will go all the way. And we'll jump into a quick pause in the meantime.
All right, at least we're getting these out of the way fast, right? It was bound to happen at some point of time. I'm glad that it happened now, just before we get into some actual action.
Fair enough.
It's MPL MY customs. We have to have a pause on the first day. We gotta officiate it first, that we still have this function in the game, and then we get to introduce who's the unpaused person this time.
All right.
Oh yeah, do we have a new unpaused person?
I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like it's a type 1 issue, so this will be pretty quick. Now,
no, Cran split into globules at level 1. What is that?
oh boy. Luckily it's not like, wrong emblems or bugged emblems in this case. Thank God we don't have that as often anymore. But I think generally it should be fine. The teams look pretty comfortable. And
he knows what's up. He knows what's
up.
That's my man right there.
That is the question. Do we have a new one?
Do we have a new one? I don't know.
Do we have the old one?
I have no clue.
It's actually a mystery this season. No one knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Look, looking at the compositions and based on what we've seen in the previous game, I don't know whether this is going to be like very fruitful for either side. I'm expecting like early fights, like prior to level 4, mid lane control is going to be in nobody's favor. I would say more so for Vamos, but it's going to come at a cost. And I want to see how much of a tax they have to pay.
Yeah, then also, I think you can also expect SRG OG to move first, right? Selena, Jawhead, they want to be together, and one missile arrow lands, it's over. That's it. We get the man himself.
It is a new one.
Woo!
Well, let's jump back into the land of Dawn. Thank you once again for being patient with us, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get game 2 underway.
Yep, and it looks like the power farm is similar to both sides, both Jawhead and as well as
Marco and Dash Purify. Wow.
Ouch.
Not the position you want to be in, and if Smooth goes down, this lane basically explodes, and he will go down. Double kill for the guy.
That's actually so smart to use your Retribution to get an early level 2, because as a jungler, you don't take any EXP or gold in the first couple of minutes of the game, allowing Cram to hit level 2 faster and to secure that kill instantaneously.
Yeah, that is not a timing that anyone would really be prepared for. And we're talking about Vamos here. This is one of the best early game teams in the league. And they were just caught with their pants down, just shot out of the sky instantly. 2 kills, the SRG, both on the Suyo, which is very good news for them.
Yep.
Yeah, Zorn kicking himself right now. He went to check the bottom jungle, and then Talk went alone top side, and he's gonna go down again to Yums.
This is the punishment that we were looking for. Whoever loses their Purify first is going to get hunted down very quickly. And right now, between Team Vamos and as well as SRG has a faster tempo. Their only big difference is in that mid control. So now that Slanger Red Giants are just hitting them right at the ankles, the next 2 turtles should fall into their hands.
And they're gonna start working on that first turtle. Very free for them, in fact. And even there, we get a milestone, right? Innocent first Savage in MPL MY. And I can't even finish talking. Zorn's already dead.
Yeah, they still go for Chibi, who ended up in the jungle. The shadow kill didn't even get used, so a pretty weird position to be in, but 5 kills for SRG OG. Now, Vamos' jungle is going to be under threat. But yes, first damage for Innocent in game 1 of MPL MY, and this is the first time it's ever happened in the league in 15 seasons.
Yep, I mean, Cram does lose an entire wave up top side. But does it matter? They've already put 2 in the ground, 2 in the dirt, and now that Chibi, as well as Zorn, are pretty significantly behind where they're supposed to be in the match, SRG have absolute control over it, right? They can make off-tempo plays, and regardless, it comes at 0 cost, right? No matter how much gold Team Vamos are able to get. Let's say, how much gold are you going to get off of those structures unless you break the structure on top of taking away the barrier? Then it'll be worth it for Team Vamos, but I don't think they're going to have enough damage to do so anyways.
Yeah, Ness is not getting help anytime soon. Espresso, his lane is frozen by Innocent, and he's down in experience. You got this Impure Rage Blue running around the map, and Chibi is going to try and get away, buy some time, dodges the toss, but that means he's going to be forced away.
Good spacing from Chibi. He knew that he could use his Quad Shadow to get away from that, but the pressure really building up. 3k gold lead in 3 minutes is almost unheard of against a team like Vamos, and we knew that SRG had a really powerful mid trio going into this game, but they've already surpassed all expectations.
Yep. Great. Honestly, Cram, really good use of the Wilderness Blessing. Help mid lane. Once mid lane collapses first, which it will always collapse first compared to the side lanes, help clear that up, instantly rotate to the back top side to minimize the amount of EXP loss you have. And that's why you're seeing that currently both of them, Cram 6, Smooth also at 6, but slightly behind in EXP.
And now Clockon is just on utility duty, right? This Barca has been essentially negated for the first few minutes. Thanks to that early 2 death, has to cover for Nespresso down bottom. Shadow kill, not gonna get a kill to Stormy as Yum saves him with the toss. So at the end of the day, SRG OG gets control of the turtle, and without any contest, will secure the second one.
Yep. Oh my goodness. How did... Oh,
So clean.
Oh,
It's actually so clean. It is the complete opposite of what happened in game number 1. SRG saying, early game didn't go so well for us last time. Let's focus a bit harder on that this game. And well, we are seeing it firsthand. Now, it's not completely out of the way for Vamos to take this back. Farsa, Hayabusa, Granger all do still scale pretty well, but they're gonna need to get that space, and I don't think SRG is going to give it to them.
Never, because keep in mind that right now in the metagame, the EXP laners are generally looked as is a second roamer, right? And now, Sakai's, he's 2 levels ahead of Chibi. Even Smooth, I can bring you down to 50%. Not really going to matter at the end of the day, right? Because Sakai's is just that far ahead.
Try and blow up Cram at least, and with the help of almost the whole team, they do so.
All right, they at least find 1 bag. However, the kill does end up into the hands of Smooth. Not exactly the best choice, because regardless of how much money he gets, he's always going to hit his cap a lot sooner compared to the rest of the team.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do feel like Smooth, like, at the 2-minute mark, already lost his purpose in this game. That's the risk of going a hero like Hilda. You really need to create pressure really early on, and SRG is specifically drafted to deny that ability from him.
Well, I mean, he hasn't lost all of his purpose just yet, right? He can still body block arrows from Stormy. He can still get into Sakai's face, ideally get in front of Stormy's face, and make sure that Innocent doesn't get too far. But this is under the assumption that Innocent gets involved in these fights, or at the very least, has his 3 core items.
Then also a Purify to add on top of it. So it's not the easiest target to jump on. You would need a concentrated effort to take him down. SRG OG, they're not really sweating, right? They got the bot tier 1. Innocent can take double waves whenever he wants. The person Team Vamos is worried about right now is definitely Nespresso, who is struggling to get farm. And on top of that, Clockun.
Yeah, Clockun, while he already got picked off twice in quick succession early, it was early enough that it... hold on.
Oh, because Zorn is gone.
That's the beauty of the SRG composition, right? You just fight on a dime. If you see Stormy land an arrow on anybody, that's the go button.
Yeah, Yum just goes in, gets a easy kidnap, and the job is done. The turtle for SRG.
We talked about Guinevere offering Zorn a potentially safer way to dash into the bushes and get out without too much risk, but if SRG is just all waiting for him with an ambush, there's not a lot he can do in that position, and it's a similar case to game number 1, right? When Vamos doesn't have Zorn to play around, their backline is so exposed.
I think booby traps everywhere with the arrows too. Cram's gonna get on top of him, pull him back. They use everything onto the Hilda, and she is no more. Clockun's Feather Airstrike did nothing, and Zorn is now in danger. Has spatial migration to safety, but SRG OG thinking about potential dive, and Cram will get into the face of Nespresso, who will be forced back.
Interesting. At the same time, if you look towards the bottom side, GB, he's trying to make the best of the scenario, right? He knows that his purple is going to be gone. He's scared to walk into an enemy purple side as well because, hey, there could be a Selena arrow ready for me. If not, at least the trap to give them vision over his position. But as he takes his bot tier 1, because Selena, what is she going to do against Hayabusa? SRG, in response, takes the entirety of his jungle.
Yeah, they're getting so many resources across the map while denying it from Team Vamos at the same time. This is clinical. This is exactly what you're supposed to do with an early game lead. Top players that I queue with take some tips from this here. Like, there's so much you can learn just from the way that SRG is moving across the map right now, and it's denying any chance of Team Vamos to try and accelerate Nets or Clockhood at least to take fights easier.
I think it boils down to whether Zorn can actually find and engage with the rest of his team. You saw them clump up and he found the initial engage on towards Cram. They have to repeat that process, ideally on a more valuable target or somebody who isn't innocent unless they can get innocent 2 times in a row. One to get us purified, the second time to ensure the kill.
And the bad news for Team Vamos is that Cram is no longer a viable target with the Immortality online. You don't want to use anything onto him at this point of time, and he continues to be a threat because this is what Blue does. So 8 minutes and 45 seconds, Lord spawns, and SRG OG gets on top of it. They will potentially trade at bot tier 2, but it's a small price to pay.
Yeah, it's a small price to pay, but it's also a pretty big profit for Team Vamos at least. Like, giving up your Lord for a tower, not really worth it most of the time, but in this position, Vamos needs to get whatever they can.
And they just found Clockhood again. The Rocket Barrage plus a couple damage from Sukai will do the job. Fresco did the conceals, move from the back. They want to hit the SRG. Yums will flicker the safety. Sukai re-engages with the Blaze Surge, and Innocent now has space to do damage. Dashes in and finds smooth mega kill for Sukai.
And that's why Suyo is a huge problem in the metagame. Here comes Innocent to find another kill for himself. I mean, they're just picking at Team Vamos one by one, breaking them apart. Oh my god, that's actually so smart. Throw in a minion, break the whole shield to get the rest through.
I gotta do that. That is actually so good. And mind you, I thought the Naruto collab was still a while away because I swear Yums just used substitution jutsu in that moment. Like, literally teleports behind Zorn.
We saw that trick in the Mobile Masters 2 by the great Christian Witty Y. Did the same thing. The mechanics, Chibi has to back off. No angle for this Hayabusa at this point of time. The siege in the mid side. Yun threatening a potential kidnap again, and he's gladly gonna take Smooth's offer. It has the mortality anyways. Will come back to life, so Smooth goes down. Innocent goes in, to the base, finds the killing spree. GB, shadow kill, not gonna do anything. Double kill for Sakai, and the rest of Team Vamos have been removed. GB tries to run away, but Innocent is on his tail, and the Killua will find a mega kill. An arrow on the Clockhood. He's alive, but no more. SRG OG takes the clean sweep, just like they've always done to Team Vamos.